Probably had about 6 or 8 tables. Just a man and woman ran it, no help. They had a little 4-unit motel next to it. And that was just recently torn down, probably within the last few years, where the flea market is, the remains of that. There's another restaurant called Holiday Restaurant, which is on, actually across from where the Tunnel of Fantasy is, or was, on the right. Holiday House is on the left. On down right at Rose Bay, building still there was Helen's Diner. Right past Marco's on the right, where I think it's Cristiano's now and it's closed for sale, was Smitty's Lunch. Mrs. Smith, she had 2 tables and 4 stools. She opened at 5 o'clock in the morning. She did everything. She had no help. She cooked like a little grill area, cooked, served, and you'd see her at Jack's Thriftway buying her eggs and bacon in the afternoon for the next day. She had a nice little breakfast place there, just kind of more of a hobby for her, I think. But it was unique, very nice.
So let's talk about the transition of Marco's into this establishment where we are today.
Well, when Marco's got to be to the 500 seats and we were doing mega business, became very valuable. And we had some restaurant professionals from Orlando make us a good offer, and we sold it to them. We had already, I think we were about a year old, already opened Aunt Catfish's, where Dave's Dock was on the causeway. Dave's Dock had closed, and it became available, and I was, young and had energy then, and I thought, that's an awfully good location on the water. So we made a deal where we leased it for 2 years with a purchase option, which we, of course, carried out. And we had an interesting character dine at Marco's when I was growing up. Every single day at 4 o'clock, her black Cadillac would travel north from Rose Bay, where she lived. She would toot the horn. That was the signal for our waitress to get the hot tea and the salad on the table. She'd be right back because she was only going to Allendale Post Office to get her mail. So she'd be back like 5 minutes. We didn't know if she was a man or a woman. She wore pants and Hawaiian shirts and short hair, was gruff. And anyway, as we got to know her, she was just a delight. Her name was Rosina McCormick, and her nickname was Catfish because that's all she did was fish all day long for catfish. That was her hobby, fishing. So I got to thinking, we'll name this new restaurant in Fort Orange Aunt Catfish's, sort of honoring her. And I thought catfish would be a relatively inexpensive specialty to be able to serve at a reasonable price. And we did pretty good right at opening, and then it kind of fell off a little bit. And we added the salad bar, and within about 3 years, we started really pumping here. And I kind of learned it takes about 3 years to get a business solid. You got to go through your growing pains and adjustments and so forth. So we luckily enjoyed increased business every year until about 4 years ago, when this extreme competition in the area has become evident, and of course the economy has had a little falter, but we have been able to maintain. We haven't gone down in sales, we just haven't had the increase that we enjoyed for many, many, many years. So we still feel very fortunate to still be maintaining with all the competition and so forth. So,
what did it start out like? Certainly today, I mean, a lot like today. This room made a...
Yeah, this was it was a pool room / restaurant. The police station was on the corner of US 1 and Dunlawton, and there was even articles in the paper. The police would sit over there with binoculars waiting for people to pull out of Dave's Dock parking lot and then go stop them for drunk driving. It was a joint. They had a all-you-can-eat fish buffet on Wednesday and Friday or something like that. The place wasn't real clean. It was kind of interesting,
So it's served liquor, right?
Oh yeah, they had a bar, and they had 2 upstairs areas that we now use, one for dining and one for storage, were apartments. So it was just the main level, was the restaurant and pool hall. And we just sort of fixed it up as we went. Today we Actually, my son instigated a major remodeling back 3 years ago, and we've completed that over the course of a couple of years. And we're very pleased and proud of the place today.
Who had the genius idea of bringing those little
Oh, we had done that at Marco's.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I stole that idea from Hogate's in Washington way back before I ever got in the restaurant business. I saw that there, I said, that's the ticket.
Miles around the country. They used to have a pier out here.
Yes.
Of course, until the 2004 hurricane.
Yeah, there was, we've got some pictures here in the restaurant. It was a long pier with no sides on it, and it was lined with small fishing boats, which were rentals for Dave's Dock. That was pretty much gone by the time we took over with storms and so forth. And then we actually built this dock probably a year or two after we opened.
The interesting stories about running